Good afternoon. It's November 3rd, 2022, and here's what we're looking at today. I realized I didn't mark stuff from the overnight, so let's get to it. But just a range day. At least this is how I was looking at it. I just drew the lows here, highs, and the overnight highs. Um, let's see, maybe the overnight lows were, yeah, so you can see a bounce here, and you can see that midline came into play. So, I mean, maybe you played it like that. Uh, it looks like some people played it like this on this low because that would make this a midline. And yeah, you can see that. So really, as usual, you can see a bounce right here. Different people play it different ways. And now I'm seeing this, which, I mean, it's pretty close. It's maybe people played that measure move, but this looks like it's probably the most commonly played. And what time would that be? So yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, that's at 5 o'clock. That's right at 5 o'clock. So people came in at 5 o'clock. They played that as the low. But I mean, you can see we get that break and a couple legs down. That's just, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but it's just pretty fascinating to me. So I had my trend channel drawn like this. Mac had his drawn a little differently. But you can see this works out. You can see the midline. But yeah, let me stop rambling. Just go over these trades, and I'll just mark the ones from the overnight. So that's too early. 5 o'clock comes, you get this second entry short right here, but it's kind of in no man's land, and the signal bar is no good. And then you get this lower high, but that signal bar isn't good either. Then you get this failure, but it's congested at that point. So I wouldn't be. I don't think I would be taking this. And then we're just chopping around down here, making our moves down. Maybe you take this one, but it's just far from the EMA. Looking at it as a failure, like maybe this is like a new high, but it's really not. So that's pushing it. You get this second entry short. I like this one right here because you get a second entry short and you get this lower high, and it's like a breakout pullback with the bias. You can see, and we just got a fourth test of this price level. So I like that one off the EMA, but it is. I'm gonna have to change it to green because it's got some stem on both sides, and we just had this doji and this doji. So yeah, I think especially if you saw that in real time, that'd be tough to take. We come out here, you're just chopping around, so you get your first leg of correction and your second leg of correction. Almost perfect measure move. This break wasn't too convincing, so nothing in here that I like. First entry, second entry, that's a good one. I like that because it's also I was gonna say it's like a quadruple test. You can see that right there. So I definitely think you got to take that one because we just had our two legs of correction. We did make a new low, so you might be a little worried about that. But I mean, you could even argue for this to be a trend line. So that's you might take that, or I would say you should take that. Come down here. Maybe there was like a news item here because those bars look pretty big. You get a failure up here, but it's far from the EMA. But yeah, we get a break and a move to a new low. So you would be looking for a failure there. I just think I don't like that. You're going into some resistance right there. But this turns out to be a spike in channel. You get this double top and then a second entry long right here, but that's kind of a risky. I'm liking this failure better than that. First entry failed, second entry, and I think at that point you're probably going to test these highs right here. And you can see that's what happens. And I looked at this as a second entry, even though technically you have a tick high right there, but you could even consider that a double top, first entry, second entry interruption. But yeah, I had this I like this as a second entry long. It's clearly a two-legged pullback, and it's off the key entry point. And this channel is pretty clearly valid with this midline. All right, so we got this second entry long, and then we get a failed second entry short. So technically, no, this isn't a new low. But this looks like a failure to me. Maybe Mac would say differently. It is Friday, so we're not gonna, or no, it's Thursday, so he'll have some input on this. But this looks like a failure to me near the key entry point. I think that's good enough for a scalp. Then, eventually it dies off. I had like 3 interruptions in a row, but I think we're good now. So we get a break, and it tries to make 2 legs down, but it fails. So, I mean, maybe you take this failure. I don't think it quite touched the... Trying to touch that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it didn't quite touch the EMA, so might be a little risky, but yeah, and that's tight, so it's aggressive. We get a couple leg, really looks like one leg up to a new high, followed by some congestion to a higher high, and then we sell off a little bit. So technically this is a failure, but with those bars stacked up and it didn't touch the EMA, it's too far from the EMA. I don't think you can take that. We get this spike and channel down. I looked at this as a new high, especially these closes are higher than these closes. First entry, failed second entry. I like this one better than this one. I would, if you were playing this as the lows, I would expect it to test those lows, and that's exactly what happened. And I guess you could call this a failure, but that's too far from the EMA. And you can see this, some people might think it's a trap here. People got trapped going long. So it trapped those people, and then these people going short probably just scalped out, and then it makes another leg up. Too congested to take this as a failure. This is a double bottom. It might be even a new low. So, I mean, this kind of looks like a failure, but you wouldn't have had your trend line drawn like this. You probably draw that. And you get a break, and this doesn't really look good enough to take a second entry long on that. Those dojis, you just got to be careful. And I mean, look, when prices are flip-flopping on both sides of the EMA, you got to be super careful. So we get this leg up, we test the midline. You can see, and then we start selling off. Double top, first entry, failed second entry long. I like that in real time, especially because I was looking at it. I think I was looking at it like a steeper move like that. And that looks valid too. And you can see people scalped out, took their profits, comes back, gives you a second entry short right there. I like that. Then you get a failure off the key entry point right there. Plenty of room to these lows. It's also looks like a double test. And then you get this. This just kind of looked like a second entry short to me, but it's a doji and a lower high off the key entry point. Then you get this failure, but you're pushing it because now it's a clear break. You might get another leg up. So, but anyways, we bounce and nothing up here. Lower high, first entry, failed second entry. I like this for a scalp because this is clearly okay. This is a channel up, but you can see we made a new high. I just thought we would attempt to make another high. Maybe I should mark that aggressive, especially that's congested. But yeah, that's how I saw it. And yeah, it brings us to the end of the day. So I hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.